This is the new XPS 13, and somehow Dell has managed to cram 6 processing cores in it. Ladies and gentlemen, it was just 2 years ago that we were stoked on a 6-core desktop. I mean, if this is properly cooled somehow, we could easily be looking at the fastest Ultrabook ever. But given that it managed to maintain the slim and sexy form factor of the previous XPS 13s, that does seem like a pretty big if. Are you in the market for a hosting provider? Try Pebble Host. They balance price with performance with VPS hosting starting at $2.75 a gig and game hosting starting at $1 per gig. Use code LTT at the link below and save 15%. So from the outside, there isn't a whole lot that could tip you off that this XPS 13 is something truly special. But that's not a bad thing. The XPS 13 remains one of the most impressively built machines on the market, with its genuine carbon fiber and magnesium chassis giving it the kind of rigidity that, well, you'd expect from something made of carbon fiber. But it still surprised us because to the eye, Dell doesn't seem to have done a whole lot to make the XPS 13 ready to handle 6 cores that can boost up to a blistering 4.7 gigahertz. And guys, we've seen this movie before with Apple's 2018 MacBook Pro. Juiced up, roided out CPU, same anemic cooling solution. The good news is that we're not dealing with a Core i9-8950HK. But Intel's Core i7-10710U is no pussycat either. Its rated TDP is just 15 watts, but Dell has opted to crank that up to 25 watts, and in our testing anyway, it drew a lot more than that for short periods at a time. For example, when starting an all-core render, it reached darn near 60 watts, which unsurprisingly caused it to hit its thermal limit very quickly. After staying at around 40 watts for a surprisingly long time, the XPS 13 then drops down to 25 and bounces between 1.8 and 2.5 gigahertz on all cores for the remainder of the render. Now, all of this is very impressive given that we would normally see worse clock speeds from a quad-core CPU in an Ultrabook. But in real-world terms, what does it all mean for you? Basically, if you want tasks like video rendering, photo editing, compiling code, or running simulations to happen fast, the XPS 13 is by a country mile the fastest Ultrabook we've ever seen. To be clear, you will get much better performance out of a 15-inch laptop like an XPS 15 or a Blade 15, but unless you need that power very frequently, the portability of the 13 is gonna make it a no-brainer for a lot of people. It isn't perfect. Even during relatively mundane tasks like installing an application, the fans can get rather loud compared to other less powerful Ultrabooks. But what's impressive about the thermal management is the aerogel insulating Gore material. So even when it's under very heavy load, the palm and keyboard areas of the XPS 13 actually managed to stay relatively cool thanks to this insulation, with just some of the upper keys heating up a bit after long renders or gaming sessions. As for gaming performance, well, it's actually not horrible anyway, given that we're working with integrated graphics, but I certainly wouldn't recommend this machine if your primary form of entertainment is gaming. Now, despite being 10th gen, this processor is actually 14 nanometer and doesn't have Intel's improved Iris graphics, although it can play esports titles like Rocket League, Dota, or CSGO. As for AAA games, forget about it. Possibly the best optimized modern example, Doom 2016, doesn't even manage to crack 30 FPS at 720p on the lowest settings. So if you want an Ultrabook that can satisfy your gaming itch on the go, the Razer Blade Stealth GTX remains the only worthwhile option, as long as you don't mind its dumb keyboard layout. Thankfully, the XPS 13 team, by contrast, did a great job here. Keyboard strokes are somehow both soft and snappy, giving you a great feel for when the switches are actuating. And as for the trackpad, it's pretty darn good too, even if it could use a couple more millimeters of extra space to get full marks. Probably the only annoying interface issue for us with the XPS 13 is the screen options. I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, but the base version comes with a 1080p display, which would be fine if I didn't need to spend another $300 on the 4K one in order to get touch support. Now, to be clear, that one does look amazing, but it's just unnecessary. At this size, you need to be within 1.5 feet of the display to even notice the difference between 1080p and 4K. Bringing us to the single biggest problem that the XPS 13 has. The existence of the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1, the laptop that has actually been my daily driver since Dell actually sponsored my unboxing of it. So you guys have asked me for my longer term impressions now that I'm no longer obligated to say anything nice about it. And the truth is, I actually really like this machine. The 2-in-1 model has almost everything that I like about the regular XPS 13, incredible build quality, great screen, decent I/O, as long as you're ready to live that dongle life. And although it is down a couple of cores, it makes up for that, for me anyway, in a number of key ways. For starters, it's got a slightly larger trackpad and a 16:10 display, both of which improve usability more than you'd probably think. I mean, less lifting your finger up is always good, and having just that little extra bit of space for like your browser tabs, it's great. Like this one right here, lttstore.com. They got cool shirts there and stuff. What's also great about the 2-in-1 is that it comes standard with a full HD touch display. So there is a 4K option, but you aren't forced into getting it if you want touch. Finally, of course, it's a convertible. Honestly speaking, I use mine as a tablet maybe once every 10 days, but it is a nice to have. Also, I feel a little out of character saying this, but while 4 cores was a massive improvement over 2 in Ultrabooks, I really doubt that most people looking for something thin and light like this absolutely need 6 cores. And besides, because of thermal and power constraints, the 6-core XPS 13 only ended up being about 14% faster than our quad-core XPS 13 2-in-1. I mean, what we said before is true. This will make your experience appreciably faster if you're, say, photo editing or video editing. But if your primary tasks are Word, Excel, and watching YouTube videos, where both machines, by the way, handled our 8K Yule log test just fine, you are unlikely to notice the difference. Where you might notice a difference, though, is in the keyboards. The XPS 13 has a more traditional feeling keyboard, while the 2-in-1s, the only way I can really describe them is as more crisp. Within a minute of typing on either of them, I can get up to full speed comfortably, something I was never able to say about the MacBook's short throw keys. And I think that whether you prefer the 13 or the 2-in-1's keyboard is just gonna be a matter of taste. I liked the 2-in-1 better, Alex slightly preferred the 13, but we both agree that both of them are A+ material. Another strong area for both laptops was definitely battery life. The 2-in-1 slightly beats out its less flexible cousin, but both of them easily achieved 9 hours of battery life and could likely be pushed to 10 or more if you treat them really nicely. One area where Dell took one step forward and one step back though was moving the webcam from the bottom of the screen. The camera is still, we expect that you're just gonna use your phone quality. I mean, look how much better this one looks, so it's not even a current gen phone. At least it isn't looking at my nose holes, which is really good. But in creating this super small camera that fits into their slim infinity bezel, Dell was forced to leave out Windows Hello facial recognition, a feature that's on basically every other Ultrabook that's worth its salt. Now I can somewhat forgive this, since the fingerprint reader, which is built into the power button, is a pretty good solution, but especially on this one, if I'm using it as a tablet, that kind of puts the reader on the back of the machine, so face unlock would go a long way here. Another area that these two laptops are compromised compared to their predecessor is in upgradability. On the last XPS 13, it was super easy to replace the RAM, just one screw in fact. But now, unfortunately, the memory is soldered on both models, so make sure that you get enough from the get-go. The only saving grace here is that the storage is at least upgradable, But even then, that is only on the 13, not on the 2-in-1. So which one to get comes down to your price point, really. If you're looking to spend less than $1,300, get a Surface Laptop 3. It's got an excellent touchscreen, which the XPS doesn't at that price, and it's a very solid performer. So get subscribed so you can see our full review of that. At $1,400 though, man, these things aren't cheap, but they get pretty compelling. The XPS 2-in-1 becomes powerful enough to meet the specs for a recommendation there, and it is one incredibly complete and sexy package. Then, as for the XPS 13, the only reason I could really think that you'd want this over the 2-in-1 is if you really want the power of those extra cores, which also means that you'd probably want upgraded storage, some more RAM, the 4K touch display, putting us at an eye-watering $1,750 US up front. That is a lot of money, but this is an awesome laptop, and there's nothing else quite like it on the market. We've all got our everyday grooming routines, from showering to brushing our teeth to, yes, of course, shaving. But no matter what your routine is, Dollar Shave Club has everything you need to help you look, feel, and even smell your best. Now, many of you have probably heard of Dollar Shave Club, but think that they only stick to shaving products. Well, don't let the name deceive you. Dollar Shave Club has shower products, oral care products, hair products, skin products, butt products, and even, obviously again, shaving products. Basically, if you've got a body, they have you covered. And not only do they ship right to your house, but the more you buy, the more you save. The Shave Starter Set comes with the Executive Razor with 6 high-quality blades and a 3-ounce tube of their Dr. Carver's shave butter. So join the club with one of their starter sets for just $5. After that, the restock box ships regular size products at regular price. So head over to dollarshaveclub.com/Linus to try it out today. So thanks again for watching. Bye.